So today we're going to be talking about criminal youths within the UK with my lovely friend Yasmin, who is also a lecturer here at the university. Yas, how are we?
Good, thank you. Just, in the middle of marking.
How's that going?
Lots of fun. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
It's good.
Yeah. We can almost see the finish line.
Almost.
Which is always a happy place, I suppose, across these 3 weeks. But no, that's good to know that your marking is nearly done. I suppose we're here talking about youths because when we came in here all those months ago to set up the studio, we kind of started chatting around what our subject criminology kind of means to us, and yourself, your kind of background is youth, and myself as well. So do you want to give people a bit of information on your background?
Yeah, so I did a PhD in restorative justice, which is kind of an alternative form of justice in schools, and since then have been really interested in young people and the way that they move through the criminal justice system and why they commit crime, essentially.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you on the same path. Obviously, PhD-less, but on the way, thankfully. So for yourself, what kind of changes have you seen? Do you know what I mean? What's going on for you in the world of misplaced youths or troubled youth?
I think at the moment, one of the big things that I see is still a lot of ethnic disparity in the youth justice system. I'm currently doing a really big research project on that, actually, looking at why we see such kind of, disproportionality within the system, right from policing through to YOIs and how many young people we have in prisons or prison-like places.
Yep.
And yeah, I think disproportionality. I still think the age of criminal responsibility is too low.
That's an interesting one, isn't it?
Controversial, yeah.
No, but why? I think the same. You can see different countries having different spaces, and the UNCRC, so United Nations Conventions of the Rights of the Children, having different kind of benchmarks, should we say, so standards. For you, where would you put it?
14 or above,
Why?
I think. 10-year-olds are kids, aren't they? They're just children. They make mistakes. Their frontal lobes are not developed yet.
Classic one we hear. Yeah, no.
And I don't know, I just feel like criminalising 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds is never going to end well. And, when we talk about this idea of like criminal careers,
Yep.
that is where they're starting, if that's...
100%. Once they're in, everything says they can't get out, even if it's for a minor kind of incident. We've also had some young people placed in those secure units, prisons that haven't come out because of suicide deaths, because of what they've been exposed to as well. The classic example would be Zahid Mubarak, which lots of people kind of know about, don't they, who was put in for stealing £6 worth of razor blades. Now, is that a reason to lock up a young person? No,
and it was a complete failing on the part of the prison there, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Just an unsafe environment. That's the thing, kids, under 18-year-olds, children are so vulnerable in those kind of environments.
Yeah.
That I think we really need to think carefully about who we're putting in.
Yeah, and it's something we often pose to our students. Okay, because you're 10 and you know how to cross the road, do you know the dangers if you don't cross it correctly? Yeah. Probably not as a 6, 8, 9-year-old. So there's difference between understanding why we should do something and the consequences of it once it's happened, I suppose, is the bit that is broken in between young people and the criminal justice system, I suppose, in that sense. Because once they're criminalised, that's all we see them as. They get that stigma then, don't they?
Yeah.
And again, that understanding as a young person.
It's just not there.
No.
And the ongoing ramifications of understanding what you've done.
Yeah.
Like you say, you can know right from wrong. And that's what our students always say to us, isn't it? They know right from wrong.
Yeah.
And they know right from wrong. But can they fully understand what they've done? Do they have the impulse control? And often, the 10-year-olds, the 11-year-olds that we do see who commit crime, they come from really, traumatic backgrounds, maybe poor attainment at school, all these different things that we know have an impact on their lives. Yeah. High adverse child experiences, all those things.
All those deprivations that are out there, whether it's education, health, well-being, access to services, massively. No, 100%. And I suppose one of the new topics or new things that's made it into the media in the world at the moment, especially with young boys, is incels. Lots of people would have watched adolescence, which has been and gone, and I think there's a few points to take from that, but we're going to move through and talk about those kind of themes that came through it. But yeah, I mean, how did you find that?
it was an interesting watch. It was a difficult watch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think I can't remember how old the boy was meant to be in it.
I think he was about 12. I do think he was about 10, 12. He was
Yeah.
at secondary school.
He was in secondary school, yeah, maybe 12, maybe 14, I don't
Yeah.
know. But either way, yeah, it was an interesting watch. I think a lot of people expected it to be a whodunit, and it was not.
Yeah.
He did it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it did bring to light some really interesting things, I think, particularly about young people's kind of access to social media and how detached adults can be from that.
Yeah. 100%. I think that's one of the big things from it is, parents, whatever. I'm not dissing parents, but like you said, they're more detached from their kids now, or young people now, because they have that freedom of space that's hidden, and you don't know what they're seeing, or you don't know how they're perceiving what they see. I find that massively with our younger students and the younger cohort, that they seem older mentally. And then you start asking why they think the things they do or how they have obtained that knowledge, and they can't articulate or answer. And all of a sudden you see the 18-year-old in them, and you go, oh, you sounded about 23, 24, but you actually don't know why you're saying those things. You're just regurgitating from TikTok, I'm going to say, or wherever else in between, which I think one of the things that shocked me the last 2 or 3 years, do you know what I mean? With the first and second years, you're going, you don't know why you believe those things, or you've never thought about why you're adopting that value and belief, which can be very dangerous in the long run if you're following a few words and you don't know why. I mean, it must be difficult for them. You see some of these posts on Instagram and that nice little caption with a very emotive sentence and a bit of music in the background and a seaside, and it's all very emotive, and all of a sudden that's what you believe because you've seen it on a screen somewhere. Which I think, is very much a dangerous thing for them as well.
It is, and I suppose to a certain extent it is a form of radicalisation, isn't it? Particularly this kind of incel culture, what's it called, the manosphere?
Yes,
and all of that, that kind of misogyny and condoning violence against women, the idea of women as kind of property.
Yes.
And in the States they were saying, your body, or your body, my rights, or something like that. But something along those kind of lines.
It's very historically incorrect, isn't it, should we say, in terms of those. And, you see it on the show as well. They mentioned Andrew Tate and that kind of misogyny on it as well. But they also missed out Elliot Rodgers and his kind of notoriety as the king of incels, I suppose. So, like, for anyone who doesn't know, he was a young lad at college. Dad was very famous, wealthy. Parents split. He moved to the States, and he's got hundreds of videos on YouTube for 20, 30, 40 minutes long of him talking very dark things around women, filming women from a distance. Why can't I obtain these? I've got the Gucci, I've got the car. It's almost like those two worlds emerging, aren't they? From Tate to Elliot Rodgers. If you've got all those things, then you should be able to take that woman, essentially, which is wrong on multiple levels.
All of the levels.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think
level.
we need to highlight why that's incorrect, but it is. You don't own anybody. People are allowed to not hang around with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, people don't need to be with you. But I think it goes back to what you were saying about social media. Social media says you need to have material things to look good and take photos on cars that we don't own, and buy things off debit with Klarna and all these silly things you can buy delivery with these days. And it just seems to be pushing young people away from making that brave step of being you.
Yeah, being different.
Yeah.
Not looking like everyone else.
Yeah.
I do think I saw something the other day and it said, like, once you give your child a phone, that's it. Like, you'll never be more interesting than the phone as a parent.
Yeah.
And it's so important for parents to be a part of their child's life. But once you've given them that phone and they've got that access to so much stuff, you just can't take that away. And the stuff that they can access from young ages. And, we know we've spoken about the frontal lobe, but it's not fully developed.
Yeah.
They don't have those critical thinking skills that adults do.
No. And I think one of the big things I say to our students is nothing's really changed other than the temptation. The temptation is stronger because media, globalization, all those things have now put it in front of you all day, every day. Even as something as simple as a can of Coke. You can order one at 3:00 in the morning. We never used to be able to do that. So you get to 10 o'clock at night and you'd be like, well, I have to buy one tomorrow now. Shops are shut, which comes down to health, well-being, all those things, you know what I mean? All can then kind of be displaced, if you will, because of these things that are kind of in front of them all the time. And the show did hit that decent amount. I was expecting more depth from it. I don't know if that's me being an academic and going, well, where's the depth in it? You set it up, but you haven't knocked it out the park.
I don't know. Some of it I thought was quite good. I think particularly the scene between him and the psychologist.
Yes, yeah.
And when she was asking him stuff about like his father and whether his father had female friends and stuff, and she was interested to know like what he thought of women, and I think some of the stuff was interesting, like how he treated his sister and his mum in comparison to the dad, and how the dad had these kind of fits of anger that they'd spoken about, wasn't it? And that, I don't know, that it was kind of a part of that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I mean, it can't be kind of easy to decipher those things, can it? And kind of come through them. But yeah, I mean, it did hit some good notes, but impact-wise, we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
And for me, we see this a lot with these kind of shows. We're going to show it in school, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But then 2 weeks, 1 week down the line, nobody's talking about it. So is there actually impact,
Yeah, and I did find it slightly irritating when they said they were going to show it in schools, because what difference does it make? Like, ultimately, the school children know this kind of stuff is out there anyway. They know about it. So unless we're having these kind of wider discussions about why these things are happening and what they mean, and, when they're talking about women in that way, why it's not okay, then...
So it needs to be put in an educational capacity, I suppose, instead of we're going to watch this 4-part film series to teach you stuff, which isn't in depth or giving you a chance to question or talk again about it. But I suppose as well, when young people see that, do you reckon it creates a fear for them?
Maybe.
Or maybe for females, more for yourself, young females. If you was 15 now, how would you be feeling?
I don't know. Realistically, as a woman, I've always known that some men are scary, and that I've known that since I was a teenager, since before there was any kind of real big social media or anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if that changes it, or it's something that all women and girls, and probably lots and lots of boys, are aware of as well. I guess a lot of it touches on kind of that toxic masculinity, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Not saying that masculinity is toxic, but that the ways in which, it is portrayed as strength and aggression, sometimes that kind of hyper kind of masculinized
or masculinities masculinities would be
that's
it.
a word or not, but that's problematic, isn't it?
No, 100%.
And that threatens men as well as women.
Because it makes us fearful of expressing yourself in case it's perceived wrong, and those kind of things from a male perspective. 100%, it must be very difficult for young lads going out, and girls, but from the male perspective, to then have the confidence just to say hello to a girl on a night out, or whatever else, because it's going to be misconstrued, or there's a hidden agenda, or stay away from me, or whatever else, fear. So fear does come from both sides. You hear it with the whole walking home thing. And as a guy, what do? Do I overtake the woman? Do I cross the road? Do I introduce myself? Well, what do I do?
You should skip.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
saw a thing that said you should skip.
So it's very... Why should you skip? Why did it say you should skip?
Or sing just a really nice song.
Because that would
Not
freak
a
you out.
one,
Yeah. If I was just in an
well.
alleyway with you and you heard me started singing, skipping down the road...
Yeah, terrifying.
That would terrify me. Yeah. So, it is a difficult space and place for young people in that sense. It's always evolving, isn't it?
It is. But I suppose the context of that is that violence against women and girls is incredibly widespread, incredibly common.
Yeah.
The statistics don't even touch it because we don't know how much it happens.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, those two things are linked, like the manosphere and the toxic masculinity and all of that. It comes together, doesn't it?
It does. We've had the online safety bill that came out, I think it was a year old in October, which looks at violence against women and girls, exploitation of photos and all the rest of it in between, and consent and stuff. But we'll have to wait and see how successful that's going to be in terms of those things. Because, again, I think it does come down to what young people are seeing online, doesn't it? Yeah,
definitely. There was some discussion about banning social media for under 16s because apparently they're doing it in Australia. And there's been some discussion about doing it here. So
I know they've banned TikTok in a few European countries and in like India and stuff. It has happened. Okay. And that was before the American discussion about it.
And that's not really about safety there, is it? It's about free speech.
Yeah, exactly. And if you look at China, and those places where these apps have come from, their young people can't use them. So I think in China you get locked out if you're under 18 after a couple of hours a day, and it's called a different name. And the things they show on TikTok in China are more about celebrating success.
Okay.
So winning an art competition, celebrating your teacher with gifts. These are the things that are presented.
It's cute.
Yeah, and it's probably more healthy as a mindset. When you look at the Western use of TikTok, it's very sexualized or materialized or about success.
Yeah.
On a personal level.
Yes, very individualistic.
Yeah. Whereas apparently on
Yeah.
the East, it's more about celebrating people, community, achievement.
Which is very nice.
Skill. Yeah, it's a lovely world, isn't it? But it begs the question, why did that not get translated across the pond?
I think that's a whole other massive question.
yeah. But like, it's interesting to see, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the mentality of our lot after 10, 15, 20 years of having it, you know, seems to be, it has changed mentality or kind of values, beliefs, what we're into. You know, one of my students at the minute is doing her dissertation on the glamorized lifestyle of social media because of all the fakery around it.
Yeah, definitely.
And how it's not who you are.
No.
But then for me, that kind of brings you back to their anxiety, mental health being weaker or poorer than previous generations because they're trying to obtain things they think they should be attaining, but they probably don't really care about them.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say weaker because I think that I guess mental health just wasn't ever really considered before.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's fair.
If your mental health was poor, then there was something wrong with you, but not in any way that was treatable or understand. You know, I'm glad that now there is much wider awareness of mental health issues and how they impact people's day-to-day lives. More understanding like neurodiversity and stuff, which is really useful.
Yeah.
But the way that social media is designed, it's not through individual fault. It is designed to keep us watching. You know, I have to, as a 35-year-old woman, have to stop myself from going on social media sometimes. Because I can just sit there and scroll.
What? But how do you do that then for any young people listening? How do you manage your time? I've turned my notifications off.
Yeah, notifications off.
Yeah.
Limits that remind you to get off it.
Yeah.
So I've set limits, like time limits on things. But I will often now just delete the app off my phone for like a weekend or something.
Yeah. Have like a break.
Because, I don't want my very small children to just see me sat on my phone scrolling when, you know, I'm hopefully going to be not strict, but not going to let them have phones for a long time.
And that's the question, isn't it? You hear lots of parents go, everybody else has got them, they have to have them, they know they exist. But do they? Everything's behavioural.
It is.
So if you present it to them, then they're going to think that's something they can have.
Yeah.
And I've seen loads of videos online of kids' behaviours before and after the iPad was introduced.
Yeah.
And how it's much more tantrums and I want and 100%. Things of that nature. Is that something you've...
Well, yeah, there's a couple of things on YouTube that my little boy likes to watch and I just don't let him watch them because I just think that he's just so like drawn into them. And we can have the TV on in the background and they'll be playing and stuff.
Yeah.
But the minute this is on, he'll be like really drawn into it and just like watching it, just sat down like a little zombie. So I'm just don't let him watch it.
Yeah.
He'll still ask every now and again. I'm just like, no. Go read a book.
Go read a book. Go play outside. There's this place called Outside where you can go and do all these fun things.
Oh, he does love outside, but then it just involves lots of cleaning on my part.
Because he gets muddy.
Stopping him to, you know, eat in the sand and stuff.
But no, it's. I don't know. I suppose like where we go from here for young people, mental health is a big support. Incels is becoming a very big topic and concerning for young lads in terms of those things. And it's interesting that social media doesn't pick up when young people are making videos around these things or don't seem to be stepping in. But you know, is it Facebook's responsibility? Is it up to Instagram to manage these spaces?
I mean, it is really, isn't it?
For me, it is. Yeah, for me, it is.
You know, if that's like, I mean, it's not the same, but if someone ran a youth club and it was unsafe, it would be on them to keep it safe. And this is just a wider online version of that.
Yeah.
But I think there's still just so much. There's still a lack of clarity around these spaces and how we should police them and all of these different things. Like, how do we do it? And the thing is, no matter how much we do it, people are always going to find ways around it.
Of course they are.
Great having a 16 age limit, but how do you stop clever 14-year-olds from getting their way around it?
Well, there was an 18-year-old age limit on Facebook when we had it when it came out, and
I put it straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
Easy.
The first thing you did on your 18th birthday was change your birth date back to your original date, so you didn't look 25 on there.
Exactly.
So
it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy because there's nobody's going to check, are they? I suppose that's with lots of things that we're seeing. Violence for young people, they always say, is going up, and they put things in place for, now you need ID to buy a knife off the internet, but does it matter?
They're freely available.
Yeah.
It's easy to get a knife.
Yeah.
You know, they're in every house. It's just a normal part of...
Can you imagine as a mom doing a stock take every night of your kitchen? Before you send the kids to bed or let them go out when they're older.
Terrifying.
It's not going to happen, is it?
No, but it's just that going back to these wider concerns, isn't it? These wider things that we need to address that are problematic, but we can't look at them in isolation as like tiny incidents that have just happened.
Yes.
And like you were saying about showing, adolescents in schools, what difference would it make?
And you can't show it to half them anyway because it's 15 and over, isn't it?
How is it?
It's not 12. It's definitely not 12 or a PG. So I would say it's at least a 15, if not an 18 on Netflix.
Yeah.
So in that sense, you can't show it to anybody.
No.
Imagine showing that to an 8-year-old.
Terrifying.
That would probably scare the living life out of them.
Probably.
Especially with the raid at the beginning. We've just got 45 police officers to arrest this 12-year-old who's non-threatening in broad daylight to just show all the community what's going on in a really high-profile investigation. There was obviously lots of... I don't want to diss the show.
Inaccuracies.
But I find that hard. Do you find that hard as a criminologist or studying in social science to watch things and be like, that's not true?
I don't know. With the procedural stuff, not so much.
Okay.
I let my brain just switch off and watch it. But some stuff I do find difficult. But more stuff that kind of maybe that I know is wrong, but not to do with like the police or something, but the way in which they portray something. If that's wrong, like that would really annoy me. So if they act like all young people are really violent or something, that would really annoy me.
Yeah. My mate's a nurse. She says the same thing. She can't watch Holby City. She can't watch anything like that because that machine's not plugged in. He'd be dead. Like there's no wires there. It's not working. So I suppose ignorance in that sense is bliss for these shows. But then, if you're passively watching it as a parent, as a young person, do you misinterpret it? Do you know what I mean? We are very passive now with our listening.
Very much so.
How many people watch Netflix but aren't watching it?
Yeah, 100%. I'm very guilty of it as well. Very guilty.
And you flick through those kind of news articles or whatever else, and you misinterpret it, pass it on, almost Chinese whispers.
Yeah.
And something completely different comes out the other end, which then can be kind of detrimental and damaging to the young people. Like I think at one point in adolescence, she mentions Andrew Tate as an incel guy. He's more the misogyny guy. Incels is Elliot Rodgers and David Jackson from the UK as well, who got martyred as the kind of king Elliot Rodgers, and lots of lads are aspiring to be like him, which I suppose is where the danger then comes from. Oh, there's this guy who got a lot of traction. He seemed like a cool guy to follow. I have the same issues as him, so now I'm going to call myself an incel. It's become quite fashionable, which I suppose is the scary part.
Very scary.
That there is communities now, and there are female versions as well.
Oh, are there?
Yeah.
Oh, I've not heard of this.
Yeah, that's quite new. The last couple of years, I've heard that a little bit, because it's gaining more traction, isn't it? So naturally, more of our students are doing it as a dissertation, which is a good thing because you need to be doing contemporary issues and keeping up to date.
Understand.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it hits a lot of emotive points for our younger ones. So we had one a couple of years ago, and I know we've got a former student now doing it in her MA at another institute. So it is gaining kind of that traction. I know Channel 4 did a bit on it a few years ago as well, didn't they? As a documentary.
Yeah, and I suppose, like I said earlier about that kind of the concept that it is radicalisation in a certain way, like, telling or kind of bringing them in to believe that this will change the way their life is, that this will help sort their problems, this will make their life better, and having these kind of figures that they look up to and see that they've done these awful things and praise them for it.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? They're getting
Yeah,
praise for it. They're
yeah.
getting credibility
Yeah.
for it, which then is
Yeah,
saying,
getting respect for it.
exactly, is it wrong? Doesn't look like it's wrong, because look how many people
Yeah.
like him or have liked their videos, because that's how we
Yeah.
operate these days, isn't it? Which I suppose is why it's gaining popularity.
Yeah.
Which is probably even more concerning in terms of those things as well. And then we go back to Mr. Tate. He's not obviously having a great time at the moment, which I fully understand and respect. He shouldn't be having a great time at the moment. But they disappear into the shadows, don't they? And they're
Yeah.
allowed to carry on. And he's got his prison release. He's come back from Romania, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And off him and his brother go.
Just spreading hate.
Yeah.
Continuing on. No, it is. And what can you do?
Well, I suppose that's the next question,
Yeah.
isn't it? We've seen lots of high-profile people at the moment being questioned about what they're doing. P. Diddy would be another one in that sense, in a
Yeah.
slightly different scenario, but they're cracking down, shall we say, on these people. His trial's just started
Yeah.
today. So in that sense, you're seeing high-profile people, but then you're seeing them get away with it.
Yeah.
And he's being dragged through all this stuff in the media, and then all of a sudden, he'll disappear.
Yeah.
Young Philly would be another kind of good example. He's gone out to Australia. These claims have been made against him. Other claims have been made against him. He's just chilling in a flat in Australia, getting speeding tickets, driving around, doing essentially what he wants in Australia for the next 12 months till his case goes to court. And these people are very looked up by our students. Do you know what I mean? They like these people. I've even had some of the girls in the class say, young Philly's a great guy, really respectful, his videos are great. And I'm like, you must be seeing different videos to me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of his videos are sketchy. And lots of his videos point towards the things we're talking about here today, bar the incel stuff, but the misogyny, the control. And, you know, I'm not defending them, but from the other side, if you've come from nothing and then all of a sudden everybody wants a piece of you, that for you must be very difficult to handle. Just to be neutral in what we're talking about, I suppose.
But why does it always come back to misogyny?
It does,
why does it
doesn't
always come back to hating women, to
Yeah.
being derogatory towards women, to believing that women are something to,
Maybe for those guys,
you know, commodities that they can own or...
yeah, but I think the switch flips, doesn't it? All of a sudden, no girl wants you. All of a sudden, you've got 100,000 followers, and every girl wants to have a drink off you.
Yeah.
It must be confusing.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not
Russell
supporting
Brand
him
as well.
Yeah, Russell Brand. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised there.
Why would you say you're not surprised with that one? Because I hear people say I'm not surprised, but then I also hear people saying this is the conspiracy of the elite trying to quiet him down because of everything he's been saying.
Well, I feel like when he suddenly became really religious and then all these things came out, I was like, oh, that's, you know, strange timing.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
he
yeah,
suddenly found God and now he's being accused of these awful things. I don't know. I guess just bad vibes, which it probably isn't the most scientific method for me to...
No, you're right. But when he burst onto the scene, he was allowed to be very sexual in his work towards females. And that's kind of his identity. Original identity is sexual.
Yeah.
And I have sex with loads of girls and take loads of drugs.
And even when he was like in films, like that's who they cast him as, like Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Do you remember that film?
Yeah, Get Him to the Greek.
But
yeah. That's all he was about, with drugs and sex.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe people say you speak the truth sometimes when you're joking and laughing and things like that. Maybe it goes back to that power and control. Look what I'm saying in this film, and that's actually who I am in life. You know, you're almost getting away with it. You know?
Yeah, getting away with it.
Yeah.
And people did get away with it though. Like, it really is only the past 20, 30 years that...
Make us sound old now to all the young people listening. It's only 30 years ago.
I mean, we were only 5 then, it's fine. But I feel like it's only recently that those, you know, those things... that they're not allowed to get away with saying these things, that people are calling, you know, people out for saying...
Yeah, good.
Things about women, things about children, like... You know, they're not jokes anymore.
No, they're not. No. And I think people have realised that, haven't they? There's a hidden meaning if you're confident enough to say or express those things. Then you've probably got some truth behind it. Unfortunately, in that sense. But no, it's an interesting space to watch because it's always evolving, especially with young people, mistrusted youth. Look at how much they were blamed in the media in COVID for, being out and about, but they're the ones who work in the restaurants you were telling us we have to go to help out, to eat out, which is another crazy discussion point that I'm going to leave for today. But they always seem to be blamed, young people, throughout history. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's mods and rockers, the classic seaside destruction, all the way up to COVID, and now with incels, which seems to be the new worry, fear, or belief of young males and females in that sense.
One of my favourite things that I do when I'm teaching youth justice is show them some quotes that talk about young people, and one of them is like, the young men are just off chasing women and have nothing in their brain. And it's literally from like a Greek philosopher. It is so old. There are so many really old quotes and people are like, oh, that was maybe 20 years ago. Because, people think that this idea of society being fed up with young people or scared of young people is new. But it's not.
No.
And rightly so, teenagers are always going to find ways to make us feel shocked or outraged by their behaviour, because that is just part of being a teenager.
Yeah, I think Belgium has that in their youth justice outline.
Yeah.
Young people will mess around, they will break the law, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, we will support them to grow out of it.
They will be a nuisance sometimes.
Yeah.
And also, I think they will act in ways that they don't necessarily see as threatening, but that other people do. So, like, we can think of, like, the whole hoodie thing, like
hoodie culture,
hoodie, that
was
whole
us.
thing. But also, like, just young people in groups. People will cross the road to avoid groups of teenagers.
Yeah.
For what? Like,
I know.
They're always going to act in those ways.
They are, and I think it is historical, isn't it?
It is.
You've been told to be fearful of them. I wonder if in 10, 15 years we'll feel like that.
Hopefully
Do you know
not.
what I mean? If it does just happen and there's nothing you can do about it, all of a sudden you wake up hating young people.
Yeah. Hopefully not. I don't think so. I think it just comes from understanding. And as people get more detached from it.
Yeah.
And people are weird about children and young people anyway. They seem to feel that they should be guaranteed respect and should be control and all these things.
But you can't.
No.
Yeah. And then I suppose it begs the discussion around, are we halting their expression? Are we halting their kind of development in terms of you feel fearful to speak or express yourself in open capacity or open settings in terms of those spaces? And maybe then young people are drifting further away from adults because they can't talk to us.
Yeah.
And about anything, drugs, sex, education, it must be kind of difficult where uni lecturers who offer pastoral support, how many of them come to us because they don't feel comfortable talking to who they've got at home for multiple reasons. But they'd feel much more comfortable talking to us about their boyfriend or homes or whatever else, going to festivals or being offered drugs, whatever it might be. We see them kind of more open and engaging with us than their family, which is, I don't know if it's sad. I don't know if, because I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have spoke to my family about those things, but I had other people, but these guys seem to be more connected, but have less people to engage with. Like I always say to them, what are you doing over the summer? Oh, no, we don't meet up and hang out. Just got a group chat. So, hang on, are you actually friends or are you pen pals? Because you never hang out. My best mate was like, my best pal, but I'm not going to hang out with you. I'd be like, are we friends?
Yeah.
Are we actually friends, or are we just distracting ourselves by being in this group chat at the end of the night and getting through the hours?
I love that though, pen pals.
Well, a lot of them do seem like that. Not dissing you, I love you all, but they don't seem to be as sociable in reality, I suppose is what I'm saying, compared to virtually.
Yeah, I suppose, and a lot of the ways that teenagers and young adults socialise has changed quite recently, isn't it, as well? So, like, I know when I was in uni, we went out a lot. Like, that was what we did.
All the time.
We went out, we drank a lot. And that teenagers and young adults have really moved away from that.
Yeah.
And they drink less than any...
Gen Zs are lower than anyone, but drug consumption stayed the same.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
So you're not drinking, but you're engaging in substances the same as through history, which I find very interesting to explore, which is probably one of the things my PhD might end up highlighting.
Yeah.
But yeah, they seem to... They say at the festivals, I don't want to be recorded in case anybody sees it. That's why I don't drink. in fear of other people
Yes.
refilming me without consent.
Do you know, I always feel so glad that I grew up at a time when I could make mistakes and...
Well, the camera phones were that poor, we didn't bother taking photos.
But also, it just wasn't an automatic thing.
No.
Now, if people see someone making a fool of themselves or being silly, it's just so natural for people to reach for their phone and film them in that moment. But it just wasn't what we did because we'd never been used to it.
And you didn't want your parents to know where you were.
Yeah, and it just wasn't the norm for us.
No.
Like, when I used to go out as a teenager, we used to take, like, digital cameras.
Yeah.
And then
little
upload
clicky things.
all the photos onto Facebook at once in albums that are now
Yeah.
hidden from public view.
But it is that, I suppose that is the big difference. And apparently there's a new trend at the moment where they are filming people at raves who are dancing weirdly. Now, I'm sorry.
So uncool.
It's not, it's uncool, and that's not rave culture.
Yeah,
rave culture
it's not
is,
welcoming and accepting.
People want to pretend to be animals in the rave. People want to pretend to do silly dance-offs and whatever else. That's what you do. There should be no phones in those spaces.
No.
And you shouldn't be filming other people because you want to embarrass them when they're expressing. Because that's your own community you're hindering. And you're killing the party vibe for your own generation. Very different.
Uncool,
I go to places where there's signs up saying no phones because that's just the more kind of respectful way to be in those spaces with, for many reasons. People don't want to be filmed. People don't want photos with them in the background. It seems like this new trends are all about belittling each other. And harming each other, kind of emotionally, I suppose, not physically in this sense. But we, like you said, we didn't do that.
No, never.
Didn't care what somebody did.
No. I mean, maybe we did. Maybe we've got a bit of rose tinted glasses.
Yeah, you got roasted to your face.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It was just bullying straight to your face, which is awful as well.
Of course it is, but I think it built resilience.
I don't know. I don't know. To be fair, I was lucky as a teenager, but I don't know. It's a tricky one. I think a lot of this you kind of said about like identity building, and that's what being a teenager is all about.
Well, that's what it was for us.
Yeah, and from the age of like 10 to 25, really.
Yeah.
When your frontal lobe finally fully developed and you wake up a full-blown adult one day. But yeah, it's a tricky time to navigate, isn't it?
But we were told that.
Yeah.
We were told, by the way, you're going to be really embarrassed about the next 5-10 years. Just get on with it.
You are going to be shy.
Yeah, you're going to have your hair everywhere. You're going to have braces on. You're not going to know how to dress properly. Your clothes aren't going to fit you. You're going to look a mess. Now they all look like they're ready for a catwalk.
Immaculate.
Yeah. We used to turn up to uni in our pyjamas with rollers in and hungover from the night before, or, sorry to everyone listening to this, or play drinking games in the lectures. Do you know what I mean? We did all those kind of things, which I don't want this last thing to come back. But, we were just, got to go to uni. This is what I've woke up in.
Yeah.
I'm going. Like, who cares? Whereas now it's, are you wearing all black? Are your makeup done? Have you got your Nikes on? Are they pristine?
Yeah.
Never thought about any of that. We wore one pair of trainers for 25 years and come home with wet socks every day.
It's like the whole keeping up appearances thing, isn't it? And that, social media is so awful for that. I sometimes have to remind myself that what I'm seeing is not real. Like, people do not live like this. It's always the houses for me, like these immaculate houses.
Cars, holidays.
Yeah, and then I have to remind myself that actually that's just not normal. It's not the norm for people.
Yeah. And that's something I express to our students. Like, you do realise these people you're following are like 35, 40.
Yeah.
They're not 20. So the things you're trying to attain that they've got, they're obviously further down the line.
Even then, as a 35-year-olds, most of my friends are like me. We all have, very blessed existences, but not wild expensive cars or massive houses or anything.
Nope.
And that is what you see on social media. And I just feel like if I get sucked into it sometimes,
you will,
then what must it feel like to be a teenager viewing that?
Yeah.
And
it must be very difficult and confusing. We were probably fortunate enough to be born in the 90s and have that blend of, by the way, most TV's still from the 50s, and technology is called a DVD. Do you know what I mean? We were in a nice balance there because we could still disappear without family or friends knowing where we were in a safe way and go and play football or whatever. When you were messing around, there was nobody taking films of you and posting it on community spaces and moaning about kids being kids. I think we're more visible now than ever.
I think people are so fearful now, like parents, and that's not a bad thing, I understand.
No.
But when I was under the age of 10, I used to go, we lived in a relatively rural-ish area, and I used to go off on my own and play and be out for hours.
Yeah.
And then I suddenly remember my parents getting a mobile phone, which was like a brick, and my mum being like, "Oh, you can take the mobile phone when you go out, so if anything happens, you can call me." And I dropped it in a river, and it was like a brick, so I just picked it up and it carried on working.
Yeah, that's fine.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Survived the river fall.
Those Nokias were also a good defence weapon
it
if you ever
literally
needed
was.
to.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's
But yeah, people are so fearful of that now, and maybe glad when their kids want to stay inside and play their video games and talk to their friends online, because they're worried about them going out.
Yeah.
But then actually, I think the stuff that they might be seeing online and the stuff that they're able to find online is probably far worse.
It's that balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, and it's very much impossible because kids are looking at older content as younger people.
Yeah.
And what freaks me out about it is when I started lecturing 10 years ago, I started that conversation of, well, we're seeing things online. Now 18-year-olds are trying to be 25, but now it's gone to the extreme of there's 10-year-olds looking at 15-year-olds on social media who are looking at 20-year-olds who are looking at 25-year-olds, all trying to attain what the previous have got or the ones above them have got. And yeah, it freaks me out. It's very scary.
And it's an impossible thing to navigate.
Yeah.
And to do so without feeling like you're criticising the ways in which people choose to parent or look after their kids. Because obviously they're just trying to keep their kids safe. But I feel like there's so much fear when realistically, although we see these things in the news, we see things about knife crime in the news, and it is terrifying.
Of course.
It is, and as I've got 2 really little kids, and that is terrifying. But also, I guess we can't keep them wrapped up in cotton wool inside. It doesn't help them to do that.
No, because then they end up at the festivals with me and they can't navigate the day by themselves because they're in too much fear because they've lost their phone or whatever in between, or they can't find their tent because they don't know how to do basic problem-solving skills.
But it's also important just to be out there in the world, like doing things like going on public transport and, all that character-building stuff that is just figuring out how to be a human, essentially.
Yeah. It seems to have dissolved.
Yeah, and that is what a lot of teenagers, that's what they need to do, isn't it? And parents are scared because they're worried that they're going to become some kind of victim or
groomed.
Yes.
Or sent to gangs because they watch Top Boy and then...
Yeah, there's a lot of worry about gangs, isn't there? And I feel like maybe it's not something that...
It's obviously out there.
Oh yeah, obviously gangs exist.
I think it's because it's good TV.
Yeah,
it's in people's eyes, isn't it?
Yeah,
with everything. Because again, going back to adolescence before we wrap up, I thought he was going to be involved in a gang, and I was like, it's not going to be him. He's going to have been groomed and forced to do it, or something's going to have happened, and then he just decided to obviously attack that girl because they had a bit of friction. More than a bit of friction.
Some people were still trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was the other person. Like, still trying to say.
One
that
of my
it
pals said
him.
that. She was like, wasn't him though. I was like, did you watch the last episode?
Literally,
he pleaded guilty.
Yeah, yeah, but it was literally him. Like, we saw it was him. So,
although if I was his lawyer, I'd be advising him to not say anything because they didn't find any of the evidence.
Was it the shoes?
The shoes and the knife. Yeah, but yeah, that would have just been my legal advice. Keep quiet.
But yeah, it's interesting.
It is interesting, and that's a lovely way to wrap up our little conversation, Yaz. And I really appreciate you popping in today. You will be a regular, so don't worry. This isn't the only time we're going to see Yasmin. And thank you very much, Yaz, for your time
welcome.
today. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you all again next week for another Coffee and Crime.